Hey guys, today I'll be making a 2024 presidential election prediction between President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump. This is the ultimate matchup here. Both these men have been president at some point in time. The last time we saw a matchup quite like this was in the election of 1912. So this is really a pretty big deal. And I'm going to start off by filling in the solid Trump states in New England, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, and Maryland. I mean, you have Larry Hogan of Maryland, Republican governor there, Charlie Baker, Republican governor of Massachusetts, and Republican Kristen Union, governor of New Hampshire. So these three states, I mean, those governors are going to come out in droves to support Donald Trump, the Republican candidate for president, and of course, they will help drive Trump to victory in these three states. As for Joe Biden, he'll start off by winning in the states of Arizona, Hawaii, and Florida. I mean, there's a reason why he wears aviators all the time. He's perfect for these states, and these states are going to vote pretty solidly blue. Donald Trump just seems as if he would overheat if he ever visited these states, so that would really be an issue for him. However, this whole temperature thing will actually benefit Donald Trump in the northern region of the United States. He'll live in Washington, Idaho, Montana, North Dakota, Minnesota, as well as Maine. A full clean sweep of Northern America will go to Donald Trump. 61 electoral votes. I mean, a pretty big deal for him. And the reasoning here, I mean, Joe Biden is just too cold for Joe Biden. Donald Trump has a lot more fat to burn. So Biden will really have a lot of trouble campaigning in these states, and it really just would not be that worth it for Joe Biden. Washington maybe, but there's no way that his advisors are going to let him go into these states. Donald Trump has another trick up his sleeve. He's going to win Joe Biden's home states of Pennsylvania and Delaware. The reasoning here, I mean, there's just no way that Joe Biden wins these two states again. I mean, he won them in 2020, but Donald Trump is going to come after him in these two states. He's going to, get these voters who were neglected by Joe Biden, because Biden barely visited Delaware during the 2020 campaign. And in Pennsylvania, Joe Biden is not going to win this either, because Donald Trump is going to hold, these fiery rallies. A lot of persistence will go into these two states from Joe Biden, and that will really benefit. Persistence from Donald Trump, that'll really benefit the former president. So that now gives Donald Trump 83 electoral votes. However, Joe Biden will be able to win in the states of Wisconsin and Michigan. There's more factories here, more fossil fuels burning. They'll provide the warmth that Joe Biden needs. So Joe Biden will be able to make campaign stops in Wisconsin and Michigan, and that'll give him the victory in those two states. Illinois and Indiana as well, right under those two states. Illinois, the reasoning here, Kanye West no longer friends with Donald Trump. They kind of fell out in 2020. Kanye West literally ran against him, but he didn't do that well. But Illinois, he has a major impact on this state. He is from the state, and it would be terrible for Donald Trump. It will be terrible without Kanye's support here. So I think definitely Trump should be kicking himself right now. Indiana, same thing. He lost the support of Mike Pence with what happened at the Capitol. That was just absolutely terrible. And Mike Pence, Donald Trump no longer on the greatest of terms. And without Pence on the ticket, there's just really no way that Donald Trump wins in the state of Indiana in 2024. However, Donald Trump does have another trick up his sleeve. New York, of course, will go to the former president of the United States. There's no doubt about that. In the state of New York, it's called the Empire State for a reason. It's named after the business empire that Donald Trump built out of nothing in the state of New York. They're very proud of him there. New Jersey, same thing. So, this whole tri-state area is pretty red. That's going to give Donald Trump the state of Connecticut as well. All three of these states, they are so proud of President Trump. What he's done and what he's contributed to all three of these states, he's really brought pride to this general area. And so that's going to give Donald Trump a victory here. He's pretty well known in Connecticut and New Jersey. That home name recognition is going to help him a lot. Joe Biden, however, will win in Vermont. This, of course, is Bernie Sanders' home state. So even though it's too cold for Joe Biden, it's going to be really hard for Donald Trump to overcome Bernie Sanders in Vermont. So that's going to be another 3 electoral votes for the Biden campaign. However, in the state of Rhode Island, it's just too small for Donald Trump. So Joe Biden wins in the state of Rhode Island. That's going to be 108 electoral votes now. He does trail Donald Trump, but Joe Biden will be able to make it up in the states of Iowa and Missouri. Iowa, Democrats just typically do pretty well there. Missouri, the last time he was on the ballot as vice president with Barack Obama, they almost won. And with Missouri, Josh Hawley's from that state, and Republicans don't even like him that much anymore because of what he did at the Capitol insurrection. So Missouri, of course, is going to go for the Democratic Party, and in Iowa here, 6 electoral votes. This is Chuck Grassley's home state. but it's not going to matter that much. It's going to go for Joe Biden. Of course, he did come in fourth here in the Iowa caucuses for the 2020 nomination. However, he will still do well here. I mean, he's going to be able to make up that improvement. That fourth place finish is going to drive Joe Biden to campaign like crazy in Iowa. So that puts Joe Biden up at 124. Another Biden state, Texas, 41 electoral votes. This is one of the big one. Beto O'Rourke will help Joe Biden get to victory here in Texas. You don't have to worry about it that much, but his 41 electoral votes are pretty solid right now for Joe Biden. Donald Trump, I mean, since he's taken office, he has lost a lot of ground for Republicans. It went from 16% with Mitt Romney down to just 5% with Donald Trump in 2020. So that's going to be a solid blue state. The state of Texas, Joe Biden wins. However, another Biden state will be the state of North Carolina. Just North Carolina, I mean, it's pretty liberal in general, and this state has been moving more and more to the left over the last couple of elections. I mean, when he was on the ballot as vice president with Obama, of course, the margin here was just 0.3%. So another solid state for the Democratic Party in the state of North Carolina. As for Donald Trump, he will easily win Georgia. I mean, although you do have Stacey Abrams there, but the problem here is that they voted for two radical liberals in Raphael Warnock and Jon Ossoff in the Senate special elections in the runoff. So they're not going to make that mistake again. They're not going to elect radical liberal Joe Biden. They're going to elect Donald Trump, and that's just that. It's unfortunate for them, but the South is not going to vote for these radical liberals anymore. They're pretty upset with the decision in 2020. South Carolina will also go for the Republicans. This is Donald Trump's friend Lindsey Graham's home state, so they have a pretty nice relationship there. So South Carolina definitely going to go for the Republican Party with Lindsey Graham. In Mississippi and Alabama, these two states both typically do better for Donald Trump as well. Donald Trump will also, more states for the former president. I mean, Tennessee and Kentucky, two more states for President Trump. They're just really mountainous. In these states, Appalachia is located here, and Joe Biden will have a lot of trouble. I mean, just climbing throughout the terrain in these states. You saw that he had a lot of trouble just climbing up the stairs to Air Force One. So it's going to be a bit of a struggle for him to campaign here, which is why I think Donald Trump will run away with these states. However, Joe Biden will win in West Virginia. There's a lot of mountains here. However, this is Joe Manchin's home state. Manchin's going to help out his old friend. He's going to help out Joe Biden, and that's going to be a solid victory for Joe Biden in the state of West Virginia, as well as in Ohio. This is Sherrod Brown's home state, so another pretty solid area for the Democratic Party. West Virginia and Ohio, both Democratic senators here are going to bring Joe Biden to victory, across the finish line. However, that's, it's not all good for Joe Biden. Of course, Donald Trump will win in the state of Virginia. Virginia, of course, was the capital of the Confederate in Richmond, Virginia. So that definitely is not going to be able to make it so that Joe Biden can win. I mean, this was the capital of the Confederacy. They're not going to vote for Joe Biden. So 13 electoral votes will go for the former president, and then DC's, in between these two red zones, that's going to go red as well. I mean, it's named after George Washington, Washington, D.C. So Washington, I mean, he did not believe in political parties, but if he did, he would vote for the more conservative traditional party and not the radical liberal party, and not vote for, radicals like Joe Biden. So that's going to be another 3 solid electoral votes for Joe Biden. However, Donald Trump's advance in the South is going to be stopped by this blue wall formed by Joe Biden. He's going to win Arkansas and Louisiana. You have Democratic governors in the state of Louisiana and Kansas, so another state. You have Laura Kelly in Kansas. He's going to help out Joe Biden when there, but in the state of Arkansas, this is Bill Clinton's home state, so this is definitely a state that Joe Biden will be eyeing, and with the help of Bill Clinton, I mean, Bill Clinton is going to get Joe Biden over the top in Arkansas, so that will be a very solid state for the current president. And then you also have Alaska. I mean, Alaska, this cannot be understated. The Republicans are doing horribly there. The margins there have not increased since 2008, and 2008, that was when Sarah Palin was on the ballot. They won it by 21%. The margins for Republicans there have never, ever been larger than that ever since. So unless Donald Trump can get Sarah Palin as his running mate, which he will need a new running mate, unless Sarah Palin is a running mate for Donald Trump, there's no way that Donald Trump wins in Alaska. There's also no way that he wins in Oklahoma. I mean, this is the home state of Herman Cain. Herman Cain died in Oklahoma at Trump's Tulsa rally, and that's going to be tragic for Donald Trump. They're not going to be able to carry Oklahoma again. I mean, a couple people died in his rallies in Oklahoma because of exposure to COVID-19, so they're not going to make that same mistake again. Oklahoma will be solid blue in 2024. South Dakota as well, although you have Kristi Noem there. The problem here is that, Mount Rushmore, that's basically the main thing in South Dakota. You have more Democrats there than Republicans. Washington, of course, had no party. Jefferson was a Democratic Republican, which eventually turned into the Democrats and the Whigs, but that is a Democrat still. So Jefferson, a Democrat, you have Theodore Roosevelt, another Democrat, and then just that one Republican in Lincoln. So that's 235 electoral votes now for Joe Biden with South Dakota. Nebraska as well, another Biden state. The Democrats just typically do very well there. Wyoming, I mean, you recently had, quite a few Republican officials or Democratic officials here. You had a former governor that was a Democrat there, as well as a former senator. So that's going to be another 3 electoral votes, a pretty solid victory for Joe Biden in Wyoming. This really shouldn't be surprising. And then for Donald Trump, he will win in Colorado. People there are just very high. They might have planned to vote for Joe Biden, but they just weren't really very thoughtful with actually casting their ballots, being so high. So Colorado, that is going to go for Donald Trump. And then in the state of New Mexico, New Mexico, Trump really wants to build a wall around Mexico. And New Mexico, being that it's, so close to it and, in name as well, New Mexico is going to be very, very thankful for Donald Trump that Trump did not build a wall around New Mexico, which is why they will vote for Donald Trump once again, to protect them, from a wall built around them, because that's what, liberals, radicals like Joe Biden want to do. So Joe Biden will not be able to even stand a chance in states like Colorado and New Mexico. But Joe Biden will win in Oregon with the help of Antifa. Antifa has a pretty strong presence there in the state of Oregon, so definitely a Biden area. The state of Utah as well here. This is a lock-in for the Democrats. Joe Biden, the second Catholic president, Catholics and Mormons have really been making up in the last couple of years. So that's going to help Joe Biden win in Utah. And then for Donald Trump, he will win the state of Nevada. The reasoning here in Nevada is just that, Las Vegas, all the casinos, that really is Trump's scene. It's pretty hard to imagine Joe Biden in any of these areas in Nevada. So that's going to be another solid state for Donald Trump. And then finally, California, that's what this race is going to come down to. It's 54 electoral votes will essentially decide the outcome of this election. And you might think that this might go for Joe Biden, but really, in reality, it's really not. The Democrats have been doing pretty poorly here. They want to recall their governor now. They want to recall California Governor Gavin Newsom, which is a clear signal that the Democrats, or the state of California in general, is just done with the Democratic Party. And on top of that, Dianne Feinstein, her reelection in 2018, she's one of the staples of California politics, and people wanted to remove her. People wanted to remove Dianne Feinstein, the Democrat. She barely won by less than 10%. Only, I believe, 1 million votes split between her and Kevin DeLeon. So California, the Democrats are just falling apart with Gavin Newsom being recalled, having an election going on again this year. You might see an election of a Republican governor. And then in California as well, Dianne Feinstein, she won't even make it to 2024 because Democrats are trying to pull her down. So the turmoil between the Democrats in California is just going to cause the Republicans to win, and that will give Donald Trump now 281 electoral votes, Joe Biden at 257. You saw this map isn't really that surprising. You saw Donald Trump do well in the Southeast, with the exception of Florida and of course North Carolina. While he did well in D.C., that wasn't a surprise at all. In many of these northeastern states, New York, of course, named after him. The nickname of the state is literally the nickname, given to Donald Trump. The Empire State, that was, that's for Donald Trump. So, these states are going to be pretty red around the New York tri-state area. Vermont, of course, even though it's no Bernie, it's still going to go for the Democrats. Rhode Island as well, just too small for Donald Trump. And then many of these states in the center of the country, of course, voted for Joe Biden. Not too surprising. Oregon is the outlier here with Antifa's presence in Oregon, so that really will make the difference. Colorado and New Mexico are a little bit split off, isolated by, this whole blue circle engulfing them. and then of course Joe Biden wins the overseas territories of the United States. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure you like it down below if you enjoyed it. I think that this prediction is going to be pretty accurate. I mean, I would honestly bet a lot on this map coming true, because this really is one that with a lot of thought. I mean, comment down below, I mean, which calls you agree with and which ones you disagree with. I think that some states could be a little bit contested, but most of them I think are pretty solid choices. Subscribe to my channel if you have not, and I'll see you guys in the next video.